My problem is more with these Democrats who will bury these allegations against their candidates or their candidate spouses and then play holier than thou when they're looking at Donald Trump.
Yes, New York Times struggled to get Megyn Kelly. They actually struggled to trap her on Trump. I don't know if you've seen this, extremely concerning. She had an interview with the New York Times recently. A lot of questions surfaced about the whole thing. I'm going to show you that clip so you can see exactly what actually went on. To me, this is a master class. Yeah, they didn't succeed. What they had in mind, take a look at this.
I just want to understand something clearly. Donald Trump was found liable for sexual abuse in a civil court. He's been accused by many women. You don't believe any of that?
I think the most serious thing I've heard about him has been the E. Jean Carroll allegation that he sexually assaulted her in a Bergdorf dressing room. And I don't believe one word of that.
There's
Not one
many.
word.
There are other women who have
Oh,
said.
I know. I've interviewed some of them. But look, the things I heard were included things like he got handsy on an airplane. Now, I don't know whether that happened or it didn't, but do I find that a deal breaker for a possible politician? Not really. At least I reported on their stories and did them the courtesy of bringing them to air in front of millions of people and let the audience make up its mind. My problem is more with these Democrats who will bury these allegations against their candidates or their candidate spouses and then play holier than thou when they're looking at Donald Trump. You have to understand, like, if you haven't sold your soul, you have to be willing to criticize the people, even that you admire, on your, quote, side. And my owning my bias by going out there on stage with Donald Trump and saying, I'm voting for him and you should too, is a bonus when it comes to my credibility. Now, everybody has zero doubt about where I stand, and they can filter everything I say through the appropriate lens. What typically happens in journalism is they say they have no bias, and then they just work it out in the printed word or on their shows without owning it. But the audience knows it, and it creates a distrust and a divide. When it comes to Trump and me, no, my own personal opinion is most of the allegations against him are much more complicated than the mainstream media would have you believe. And I don't think Donald Trump is I do think he's taken inappropriate liberties with women and gotten handsy with them in a way he's owned himself. Okay. Years ago when he was a celebrity, and it is what it is. That's the past. But it's just about so much more than that. We are talking about how many people dying at the southern border because of the invasion that we've suffered under Joe Biden. We're talking about Laken Riley, whose killer was let in under Biden. We put him on a taxpayer flight down to Georgia where he murdered her. I don't give a about Trump getting handsy with somebody 20 years ago. I want someone who will close the border, which he has. I want someone who will keep boys out of my daughter's sports, which he has. I want someone who will stand up to the insane DEI policies so that white kids will stop hearing in school that they're born with some original sin from which they cannot recover.
Yes, what Democrats didn't realize is that people don't care about what happened 20 years ago. Yeah, what they care about is what is going on and Trump coming in to stop it. We saw what happened at the southern border, people entering in and out. And if you check today, not the same. Things have changed. This is actually what triggered people to change their minds toward the Democrat Party. And it is happening. When you take a look at this lady sitting here, it's like Megyn Kelly is just educating her because she consumes the New York Times every single day and she's not seeing reality. She sees red like black, sees black like, that is how it is. I appreciate Megyn Kelly. She outlined reason why she took up this decision to be interviewed by these people. Take a look at this.
Why I went over to the New York Times. They gave me this invitation, and I talked with Steve Krakauer, my executive producer, about it quite a bit. And Abby's funny because she always gets the incoming. She's like, "Don't do it! Don't do it! Don't do it!" She's like, "They're gonna hate you. You don't want." And she's very defensive of me. But Steve was more like, "Oh, we should consider this one." And we talked about it. And I have a couple of things that we're promoting right now, like our AM update and our expansion into this more podcast network where we're bringing on other voices and trying to promote them. So I thought if I were to do it, this would be a time. And the truth is I listen to The Daily most days, and I talk about The Daily on this show a lot. And I'm a weird fan of the show. Like I love to rip on it, but I do learn from it as well. I think it's a useful podcast. Sometimes it's useful just to bash. Sometimes it actually does provide information. Like I loved the podcast they did on what Trump's tariffs are doing down in Mexico when it comes to fentanyl labs. Like that was actually a fair and balanced piece. And I think they're making an effort to like drop a few here and there that might be a little more acceptable to Trump fans. In any event, I figured I would do it. So I was asked to sit down with Lulu Garcia Navarro, who is a legit reporter. She's been all over the world covering actual news for the New York Times and other outlets for many, many years. And I didn't know her very well. I knew she'd done J.D. Vance, and she seemed fair with him. So I figured, all right, here we go. And Michael Barbaro is the host of The One Monday through Friday. And truth be told, I kind of like him. And we have a friendly relationship. We're not friends, but friendly. So in any event, I decided to go over there. So it was 90 minutes sitting down together in the New York Times building. And then it was another, I don't know, half an hour or 45 minutes the next day after you've had a time to reflect, which is kind of funny. Even that is kind of leftist.
They just stopped being any fun. I mean, they made everyone feel that everything they said and did and every word was wrong. And people don't want to live like that, feeling that everything they do is wrong.
No. You think we're over that era? Do you think that?
No, I think,
right.
I mean, I think Democrats are just in a coma. They haven't figured out.
Right. But no, the woke are not giving up on that. I mean, we the Seven Dwarves movie just came out.
Oh, right.
And
there are no dwarves, right?
They fought about the dwarves. It's so funny. This is again one of my big problems with progressives. They're so stupid so often about things that they find their way back to something that's very unprogressive. Like you think getting jobs for people, very progressive. Not if you're a dwarf, because like there are dwarves out there who wanted to play these parts who couldn't because it was somehow politically incorrect to portray dwarves as, I don't know, minors who know Snow White. It's a crazy character that somebody invented for children. And you're arguing about whether it's right if real dwarves play dwarves. There are dwarves in the world. Right. And there are jobs for them that you lost on there. And then Snow White loves Palestine. Like, I wasn't going to see this movie anyway. But, that people who get their news from TikTok, just please shut up.
It was, I think the Democrats just got to have a suffocating persona where you just couldn't do anything or say anything that wasn't to be criticized.
Somebody once wrote, "The politics of purity makes people stupid and mean."
Was that you?
It was you, fool.
Oh.
This is Bima how, like the Democrat can still figure out, they are still woke, they are still in that area. And it is true. Like Megyn Kelly said, they call their things. But when it is the opposite party, they proceed. I want to appreciate people who constantly support this channel. If you notice, for the past, I think 1 month, a lot is going on. YouTube don't recommend my videos for reasons I don't know. Sometimes it is discouraging, but I can't stop. We will continue to put out clips like we do every single day. I'm pleading. I'm on my knees. When you see my videos, what you should do is to like, comment, and if possible, always share all the videos. It might help for them to start recommending the videos again. I will appreciate greatly if you do that. And it's a motivation to me to continue to show you what is going on in and around you. If you notice, for the past 2 days, I was not able to put out videos. I took a break, but I'm back.
Brad Schimmel, that has included Elon Musk pouring tens of millions of dollars into this race on behalf of Schimmel and also giving out $1 million checks to voters.
I think you saw a repudiation of the fact that Donald Trump got elected to seal the southern border and to reduce the price of eggs. Donald Trump has come to Washington, D.C. and flipped things upside down in a way that people do not want. And so today you had, I forget the department because they shut a new department down every day, but you had employees, I think it was HHS today, I can't recall, who it was at HHS?
At the health department,
Yeah, at the health
CDC,
department
and
standing
all
in
of those
line today, and they didn't know who was going to be hired and who wasn't. And so you can sit here and say that, oh, we're not going to cut Medicaid, we're not going to do this, but the people who are in charge of running those programs don't have jobs today. And so it's hard to effectuate and put those policies in place if Elon Musk is here running roughshod on the government.
Elections, it was 10-1 that the Democrats outspent the Republicans. And yes, Democrats are obviously more
in the Florida races.
In the Florida races, it's 10-1. So talk about buying an election. But you said President Trump was elected to secure the border. He was elected to lower the price of eggs. Guess what? Both of those things have happened. Mortgage rates have also come down. Oil prices have come down.
If you think the kitchen table issues today, if you think that people are sitting at home today and saying that their prices have gone down today, then you need to go outside and have these town hall meetings.
I'm simply saying that the egg prices have come down, the oil prices have come down, mortgage rates have come down.
Waffle House still has a 50-cent surcharge on eggs, okay?
I went shopping the other day.
I think the other thing that's really important to point out is the referendum in Wisconsin. The voter ID referendum, which was President Trump's one huge priority for President Trump, voter IDs. And it passed by double digits, and that, I think, was also a very big win. So
And finally, new rule to those on the right.
All right, tell us what happened from start to finish in 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds, I went on Bill's show.
For clips, if you see that is just for the YouTube algorithm, I usually add you can end here if you want.
And this is the thing, measure twice, cut once.
Person who is carrying Donald Trump's water.
About emergency management, and they don't care about free speech.
Dribble his genius.
Fired as host of this year's White House.
Trump administration isn't exactly getting the hero's welcome.